This right here is over $120,000 worth of silver. And this is the equivalent in gold. You might have already guessed, today we're talking silver versus gold. Our clients often ask us, which one should I own? Which is better? I'm going to be sharing my answers to those questions in today's episode of Inside the Vault. To get started, let's take a closer look at each metal. Gold on one hand has fewer and fewer industrial applications compared to silver, which has a growing number of industrial applications, including medicinal, solar panels, electronics, even those Lulu pants that you love to wear to your yoga class, they've got silver in them for its antibacterial properties. Gold, on the other hand, is primarily used for investment purposes, purchases from central banks, ETFs, or investors like you and me. There's also a strong jewelry market that still exists, but there's fewer and fewer other industrial applications for the yellow metal. Now I'm going to show you a few different product options that are available for gold and silver. We're going to pull out a few coins and bars. We're going to walk through each so you get a good idea of what's available for you on the market. So I'm going to move these forward for a second. We're going to start with gold. Tends to be everybody's favorite. All right, first up is a 1 ounce gold coin. This is the size or denomination of gold coin that's most commonly purchased by precious metal investors. It's also fairly easy to recognize the value of this coin because when you go online and look at the spot price of gold, it's always referring to 1 ounce. Another common product that you're going to see purchased by precious metal investors are bars. Right here we have a Royal Canadian Mint 5 ounce bar. So the size of this bar, those 5 troy ounces, is the equivalent of 5 of these coins. Next up, you've got a Pamp Suisse 10 ounce bar. So you've noticed already that we've got different producers of products. We had a few Royal Canadian Mint products. Now we've got a Pamp Suisse bar. It's produced in Switzerland, imported into the North American market. Again, it's the equivalent of 2 of these 5 ounce bars or 10 of the 1 ounce products. If you were to purchase one of these, the premium is going to be a little bit lower than the smaller products that we already looked at. And we've got a kilo gold bar. A lot of our clients prefer these kilo gold bars. They get a good premium when they're purchasing them. You see it's still quite light and easy to transport if you're shipping it or carrying it internationally versus some of the larger silver products that you're going to see in a second. So that's one of the things you're going to want to consider. We saw earlier the comparison between gold and silver. Silver is much larger, it's a bigger volume product. So that when you're shipping it or carrying it, it can get a little bit tedious. But the conversation for silver still starts at or around the same point as gold. You've got a 1 ounce silver maple leaf coin. These two coins actually contain the same amount of precious metals, but you'll notice the silver coin is a little bit bigger because it's less dense than gold is. It also has a much lower price point, whereas this 1 ounce gold coin would be somewhere around $1,300 today. This 1 ounce silver coin is only going to cost you about $18 US. So it could be a good starting point for someone who's just getting into precious metals. Even young people, we love to see that. 18-year-olds getting in, buying precious metals. We think it's great. Next up, quite common, you've got a 10 ounce silver bar. This one's produced by Texas Precious Metals, one of our favorite dealers out there. And again, it's the equivalent of 10 of these coins, so you're ramping up in the volume that you're buying. You're getting a slightly lower premium, still really easy to transport and get around. Next up, I've got the 100 ounce RCM bar, very popular with investors who are buying a little bit more precious metals. They want to reduce their premiums. They don't necessarily need the convenience of these smaller denominations. They're looking really at metal from an investment perspective. This is a product that we sell quite a bit of. We're quite fond of it. Produced by the Royal Canadian Mint. You can see it's quite attractive in its minted form. But again, it starts getting heavy. This is a 7-pound bar. So if you're going to be storing these things at home, give some thought to that. And last up, I've got to make a little extra room. I'm going to be showing you a 1,000 ounce silver bar. These are industrial size bars. This bar weighs 70 pounds. It feels like 120. Very heavy. Not for everyone. Typically, these are purchased and stored inside of vaults like this one. They're used for industrial applications. So if you owned a solar panel company, for example, and you needed to buy silver in bulk to produce your solar panels, you might go to the market and buy a few of these and then melt them down to the specifications that you require. But that being said, investors can also purchase them. Again, it's a question of premium. It's going to be a slightly lower premium than some of the other denominations of silver that we saw. Just in case you're wondering, you can also buy the equivalent of these 1 ounce coins in 1 ounce gold bar formats or 1 ounce silver bar formats. They are available. As well, you can get smaller denominations all the way down to 1 gram, which you can give as gifts or wedding presents, things like that. Taking into consideration everything that we've already talked about, you might be wondering now is, what is the preferable mix? Should I own both gold and silver? And if so, what percentage of each should I own? And in what form? Let me give you a few insights. I always think it's a good idea to diversify amongst the precious metals. So only committing to either gold or silver might not be in your best interest because each metal can outperform the other during certain market conditions. One way to make sure that you benefit from each of those possibilities is to actually own a percentage of both. So the question becomes, how much of each? You can go with the more traditional safe bet of a 50-50 split, but what we see a lot of our clients doing is being a little bit heavier on the gold side. They might commit 60 or 70% of their investment to gold and the balance to silver. What I personally recommend is that you also consider the platinum group metals. You could add some platinum, some palladium, or some rhodium to the mix, as little as 5 or 10%, and that's going to give you some additional diversification amongst your precious metals portfolio. One thing to keep in mind when you're trying to make a decision between gold and silver, or ultimately creating your bundle that includes both, is what are the premiums above the spot price am I going to pay for these precious metals? It's important that you do know that gold typically has a lower premium, sometimes significantly lower premium than its silver cousin. For example, these kilo gold bars here that we have on the table will have a premium of anywhere between 1 to 2% over the spot price. Whereas these 100-ounce silver bars over here will have a premium of anywhere between 3 to 5%. So if you're trying to accumulate this amount of silver or this amount of gold, aside from the volume difference, the actual cost to you above the spot price is going to be significantly higher for the silver. And it's important that you understand that. So let's use this as an example. If you had $10,000 to invest in precious metals, how would you spend that money? What I might recommend is, if it was going to be the only $10,000 that you ever wanted to put towards precious metals, that you definitely buy both products in that purchase. You might buy $5,000 worth of gold and $5,000 worth of silver, or 60-40 or 70-30, depending on whatever your personal preference might be or what's recommended to you by your precious metals dealer. But if you intend to have subsequent purchases, what you could do is use that whole $10,000 to buy gold, and with your subsequent purchases, buy some silver. That way, with the whole $10,000, you can buy larger denomination products, driving your premium down a little bit. And the same would hold true when you buy your silver subsequently. You could put all of that subsequent money towards one product and drive down the premiums again. When we take a look at the actual volume, remember, we've got $120,000 worth of silver here, and we've got $120,000 worth of gold here. So the question becomes, when shipping or storing precious metals, is it more expensive to ship or store silver versus gold? And the obvious answer is yes, it is. Because of the volume, because of the sheer weight of this silver, if I wanted to ship it somewhere else in the world or store it inside of a vault like this, I'm going to end up paying a little bit more than for the gold. So it's something else to consider, especially if you're looking at long-term storage. You're going to save a few points along the way if you tend to lean towards gold. To wrap it up, it's actually not a question of one metal being better than the other. They actually complement each other. We recommend that you diversify amongst the metals. I'm sure you still have a lot of questions about which way to go with your precious metals investment. Feel free to email us or tweet me. Until then, I look forward to seeing you for the next episode of Inside the Vault.